This is episode 88, special series at the University of Virginia Hospital, room 5168. It's Super Toilet Bowl Sunday. The year of our Lord of the Rings, 2022. And I'm singing because I almost died on the way up here in Greyhound. I almost died of a life-threatening blood clot. This is Bowie. Me will die. This is my art show. America. There's my art show in the room. Oh, this is not America. This should be familiar. There's Ma Biod Sans Regal and Yoshiwamo. Be the biggest guy. I couldn't have the faintest idea. For this is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la, sha-la-la-la-la. My bags were taken and they were driven away by the driver from Haiti in Orlando. I was screamed at while I was packing. I hate you. Get out of here. I can't wait. If anybody deserves to be homeless, it's you. At the house back in Key West. Not by my companion who loves me. We both remain silent in the face of this monster who owns half of the house. Not my companion, his ex. His name begins with an R. This is not the man. He cursed me. I ended up in the homeless shelter, nearly dead, in Charlottesville. I think that's what he wanted. But the University of Virginia, unlike the Veterans Administration hospitals in Miami, Richmond, and the clinic of the Veterans Administration in Charlottesville, unlike those, within 2 hours I had my medication. The University of Virginia ER, thanks to Dr. Glass, and I was checked in 4 or 5 days later from getting the medication because I could barely stand up, let alone walk. Sha-la-la-la-la, 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 America. I feel so sad for people who don't have what I have and get entered into the veterans and mutilated, or they don't even have health care because they weren't a veteran. I recovered because the whole universe has my back because I'm bowing to the sufficient, the ultimate, necessary, and sufficient reason for all of our existence. I'm bowing to the Lord God, and I say, Your Majesty, at your service, to the angels, at your service. That means serving others first and putting others first, which I have done. America. Oh, this is not the miracle. There was a time a bird flew so blue. This could be the biggest sky, and I couldn't have the faintest idea. For this is not America. This is it. This is the end of the United States of America as you have known it. It won't be much longer. I'm filming my show. This is episode 88. The nurse came in. What?
Did you already sign it?
Yes, I'll sign it now. See, I'm going to sign it.
I'm going home now.
I'm going to sign it in the back. So if you don't want to be on the show, just don't walk over here. Put it right here. Put it right here. Me. I'm singing. I'm live. For this is not the miracle. Look, go. Let go. Look. I did it with all different filters. Sue, season of a crime. I'm suing Greyhound. I've been rewarded. I have put other people first. But the people who have been trapped on Greyhound and trapped in homelessness, they don't have the universe at their back. I'm writing Pablito.
That's your name? That's your sign?
Pablo is little P.
Okay.
And then I'm writing Pixie Pixie. Oh, this. It's a little pretentious of me.
All right, Paul. Thank you so much.
Let me get
home to my dog. He has to pee.
Okay, and then I wrote the date. It's Super Toilet Bowl Sunday. I'm rooting for the Tigers. Okay, I'm going to write Go Tigers. No, it's the year of the tiger.
Don't ruin it,
No,
honey.
it's not. I'm not. Year of the tiger.
All right.
The tiger is what the manifestation of the second Buddha, he rode on the tiger.
All right, Paul. Thank you.
There you go.
can keep that pen.
To sue.
It's for you. You can have
No,
it.
I said it says to sue all over the painting.
Oh,
It
yeah,
says
I saw
to
that.
sue. I called you Zoo, Sana, and Sue Anna,
Yes, you did.
for this is not America. Hey, don't spend it all in one place. That'll be $1 million. I love you. Thank you so much, darling. She's wonderful. She reminds me of my cousin, Sue Landefeld. She didn't want to be in the video. Maybe she's self-conscious, nervous, but she's going home to feed her dog. She has a special blue dog or something. She's amazing. She made me feel like I was at my grandmother's house, and I thought I was going to have my leg amputated. It had swollen like 4 or 5 times. At the ankle, it was like a grapefruit or a softball. Dr. Glass here took care of me, and Dr. SOOK, SOOK, HOANG. She's a colorectal surgeon, number 3 in seniority in the special department. She cut out the abscesses, and I have a kind of a special Penrose filter drain. And then she proposed. She was so sweet. Dr. HOANG, HOANG. Hey, you racist. Hey, idiots out there that are racist. You would have missed having a surgeon from a lineage probably from Korea, but it's Asian. If you would have barred Asians from being here, you wouldn't have had what I had, which I just had a wonderful woman who speaks perfect English, because it's a couple generations in, maybe Korean, maybe not. She fixed my leak, and I've been under the care of these doctors with intravenous antibiotics, vancomycin alternated with Zosyn, and now other antibiotics that have funny names, like metronidazole and the other one, and then one's intravenous and one's not. And I did this artwork because my art show was canceled because Greyhound drove away. The driver, I was standing in front of the bus at 7 minutes to 9 p.m. The bus was leaving at 9 p.m. I feel so bad for the driver and the porter. They were yelling, "You can get your bags in Charlottesville." Or no, they didn't say Charlottesville. At your end destination. What's your end stop? You'll get your bags there. I said, I want to fly. I don't even want to be on the bus. I can't have 2 seats because the bus is too crowded. That was just my mistake, thinking I could have 2 seats and I'd be okay. Well, I wasn't okay coming from Fort Lauderdale, where I had been made to put on shorts and called Miss. They called me Miss. That's like calling me a fag. That's like going, hey, queer, put on some pants. Your testicles will show. I was like, I have a dressing that needs to be changed. I have to wipe my leaking wound, chronic fistula, every half an hour. And I had a blanket and some hospital pads on my seat. But this woman sat next to me. It's not her fault. The bus was crowded in Fort Lauderdale. So she sat next to me, and I'm sure she was like, God, why doesn't this guy have his mask on a little better? Because I didn't even wear the mask. I wasn't warned I would be thrown off the bus. I figured nobody will care that much. Well, I made a big mistake. In Orlando, what'd they say? You can't get back on the bus. Put on your mask. I said, well, that's fine. You didn't warn me, though, in a way to say you can't even get your bags back. My bags had gold coins. They still may, because the coins were sewn into the side of the lining. $15,000 given to me by somebody whose initials are S.A. He gave me the equivalent of, in gold coins, of what I'd lost by somebody by the initials J.R., who, like J.R. Ewing, he took the check for $27,000 plus from Edward Jones. In 2016, in April, I was diagnosed with a life-threatening pneumonia. I have a habit of having life-threatening illnesses, but he took that as a sign that my cocaine use and excessive smoking meant that I was not in control of myself, and he set the check aside, and then he tried to say that I spent it all, and there wasn't any money in my account, and then I'm driving around with a 1/16 of a tank of gas, and I find the black Haitian. You know, most of them are black, but there are some pale-skinned ones. The billionaires that run Haiti are French descended, very pale, mostly white, but a little bit of black. And I found this Haitian who pretended to be interested in my artwork. He said, oh, I'll show you what to do. You can rest in my fishing area where I fish. Sleep in the car. As you've said, you wanted to reconsider what happened to your money and figure it out. You needed to get away from the beach and you wanted to be safe from the police. He took me towards this place that didn't exist, and then he stopped at a little Haiti convenience store around 62nd Northeast and First Avenue or something in Miami, and that's where I found out his name when I went back there. I walked back there after he robbed me. But he steered the car into another car at an intersection. He made me crash. He crashed me into a minister's car. Thank God nobody was hurt. A large van-like SUV, and I panicked because I had a shot of scotch. And I thought, oh shit, I'm going to get a DUI. And the cop came. She was very nice. She didn't give me a ticket. She didn't even check my breath. And I wasn't drunk. It's just that this man, Ronald Mesadieu, Mesadieu, who told the South Beach female black sergeant, Mr. Hinton is a neo-Nazi who's stalking me. Well, Mr. Mesadieu had hit me in the face, knocked me down, and I was holding the store phone from the store on 9th and Ocean Drive where I bought shirts like this, and I had like $2,000 of those shirts in the car, and I had like $150 jeans at times 10. I had like $10,000 of clothes, $20,000 in clothes in the car alone, plus like $3,000 in art supplies and 10 huge canvases that I was working on. Anyway, he drove away with that goddamn car, but when he saw me in South Beach, after I'd walked back, I walked 3 miles with no shoes, no flip-flops, no charger, a fucked up phone, no wallet, with short shorts on. Thank God I still had clothes to put on. And I walked all the way from where he drove away with the car after the accident. He drove to the shopping center with his busted car with me. I let him drive because I was shaking. And then he said, let's go and give blood and we'll get $50 or so, like 25 each, and we'll get some cannabis and smoke. And I'm like, oh, I could get some gas for $25, $35 and I'll figure out what happened to my $27,000 check. So I go to the goddamn in there and he's with me and then he tricks me. He says, I'll be right back. And I said, okay, what do you mean? He says he wants to go get his fishing rods. So that motherfucker drove away and didn't come back. And I called the police on the phone that was dying, and then it would die, and then the phone couldn't be charged, so I didn't have a charger. Because he drove away, and I told the police, I think he's coming back. And the car was totaled, and I misremembered the license plate. It was, let's say it was TGR 430 South Carolina, but I said 430 TGR, and I got it backwards. So it took like 3.5 weeks to find the car in the dump, and it barely drove. And the paintings, the canvases were still in there, but he dumped all my papers all over the parking lot of the Haitian store where I walked. I walked back there, and I was able to find it, but it was like 20 some blocks, which it was like fucking 1.5 miles, and I'm in shock. And then I got the police later in the story on the phone and so forth. I'm like, this guy carjacked me. He roughed me up. He used a knife. He beat me. He hit me good. And he beat somebody who was trying to help me. This other homeless guy was trying to help me. He beat the fuck out of him. And there was no police then. And the neighbors were all watching. And it wasn't far from the Haitian store. And then we drove to the shopping center. And then I was going to get blood and get money for gas and figure out what to do, because maybe I could just buy a new, get something. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, if I get the money, I can get some gas, and maybe I can drive to somebody's house. I had a friend in in Hollywood. I should have stayed with her, and I was going to rent with her, but it was too combative, and it was a former girlfriend of, I think it was Chris Journey. And I fucked up. I left her place, and I would have been safe there, and I would have had the $27,000 deposited in my account. But I drove back and I ran into this grad student who was filming in South Beach for he's graduated, and he wants to make a portfolio to show he can be a director. And he went to NYU, so he's going to give me some money. No, he didn't really give me money, but he filmed me for like 1.5 hours doing all these poses. Like Humphrey Bogart and Gregory Peck and John Wayne and all this. So I'm all excited. It's 3 a.m. I go to my car. I'm showing him my artwork, and along comes the Haitian drug dealer Ronald Mestadillo, aka Papito. So that son of a bitch talks me into we're going to go to his fishing spot, and that's what happened. By the time the sun came up, we had the accident after the sun came up. It was we were hanging out for hours. And I still had booze, and I'm drinking, and not drunk, but I'm having a good time. And I used the last of my white, boosu, my booger sugar, and that was gone. So now I don't have any drugs in the car. The cannabis is smoked up, and we're going to go get more cannabis, and we're going to give blood, and we're also going to go fishing. And he drives away at the shopping center after the accident. So in other words, we drove from where the accident was near the little Haitian convenience store, and we drive to it was like 79th Street Northwest Miami, and we go to give blood, and we go in there, and it's a big line. So I'm waiting in line, and he wants to leave. He doesn't want to stay, and he wants to get the fishing rods, and I believed him. I fucked up. He drove away, but the car, and he's already beaten me up. Back where we had the accident, he scared me. He had a knife. So I was doing what he said until I could get closer to the police and say, hey, officer, he has a knife and he won't let me drive my own car. That's what I was maneuvering to do. I'm not crazy. I just didn't want to be stabbed and have a terrible wound on my face or be killed. And, and then after I walked back to the beach, after he'd taken everything, the cops wouldn't change it to a carjacking because the original sergeant, the black female sergeant who wrote this down, or the black female officer, she wrote it as a property dispute, which meant the robbery bureau didn't get involved, and I didn't get this investigated properly. So I totally fucked up. So I walked 3 miles back in the rain to North Beach. Then I go to South Beach. Then I meet my friends Robert and Jackie. And Robert lives with his mother. He wants everybody to think he's really cool. He's really clever. and we're squatting in this event space and nightclub called Nowhere on Washington Avenue. We entered in the back alley, and I'm thinking everything will be all right. Now I need to get this guy arrested. And I made him at 9th Street. I run into him, and I found out from the Haitian convenience store his name is Ronald Mesadieu, Mesadieu. And I saw him at the police station because everybody goes there to shave. It's open all night. And in the morning, a lot of the homeless guys go in to shave. And I saw him in the lobby, and I made the mistake of screaming at him, saying, "Where in the F-U-C-K is my goddamn car, you fucking thief? You son of a bitch, bastard, motherfucker." And that black female sergeant who was going to come to my, in response to my call about 4 or 5 days later, she saw me screaming at him. So when he said I was stalking him, she believed me. She thought I was a crazy person screaming at him at the police station. But that was the first time I'd seen him since he stole my car. And I righteously screamed at him and said, "I want that car back, and you're in a lot of trouble. Little Red Riding Hood is going to turn into the big bad wolf, and I'm going to make you wish you never even breathed in my direction when I'm through with you." And that son of a bitch, he caught me good. He got me a good chop. I said something to him when I saw him on 9th Street behind the restaurants in the alley, and he rolled me back through the alley towards the front of the Ocean Drive, to the front of the buildings, and I'm in the alley getting pushed back through the alley from the front of the store where I ran into him, and then I'm trying to get back, and I'm getting back, and then he takes the phone. I'm using the store from this fancy clothing shop that has all the gaudy clothes, where I bought my American flag belt with Swarovski crystal for $700. I think it was on sale for $800, $750, and they gave it to me for $600 because I believe I bought like $1,000 of shirts that day. So I'm wearing the Swarovski crystal American flag belt, and that's about the only good thing I have left. I don't have a phone. And Jeffrey, who pretended to be my friend, who stole a $27,000 check, after I was homeless, and he knew that I couldn't check my bank account, and I didn't have a phone with a charger. So now I don't have any bank cards. I have nothing. I don't know my account numbers. So he puts the money in his account, in my account, because he has checks that are my checks that he's going to write storage space fees and he's going to read my bank statements to me because he's getting my mail at my last address at 1200 Washington Street in Greenville, North Carolina. And he's an event space proprietor, and he's an important figure within places where, you want to be married at a church and have a party at a Christian place. That's one thing. But if you have people that are Jewish or Buddhist or different, and you want to have a party at a place that's more ecumenical and kind of cool, and it's a party for after the wedding or rehearsal dinner or what have you, the night before the wedding, and you can even get married at Zen Greenville. So he has this space, and he's playing like he's my friend, sending me $50 at a time. Meanwhile, he's taking the $27,000 and deposited it into my checking account, and he's written like 8 checks, poorly forged. So he's committed, I think, 2 or 3 felonies: embezzlement, forgery, and theft. And these are felonies that give you in federal prison, and that's how I got him to pay me back, because I was basically like, "Hey, should I have him put to sleep?" I'm like, "No, I would be in a lot of trouble with karmically. I would be judging myself in the afterworld, saying, I had him put to sleep, and that wasn't cool, and I have to go through all of that all over again." So I said, "Okay, let's forgive him and tell him I'll call his mother if he doesn't pay me back within a week," and I got paid back within a month. Of course, I spent most of that money already now financing this whole fucking shit show. And that's why I'm here in the hospital, because I didn't pay attention to my health. And Dr. Spector in Miami, VA, he did pay attention, but he got sick of me. I got sick of him. And I said, "You got to figure out why this is swelling. Something's not right." He says, "I'm not going to admit you again." So that's the update. So now it's February the 13th, 2022, episode 88. And we're at the introduction, and we're almost at 25 minutes in Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm singing "This Is Not America." And I have a special episode with the Art Show that was supposed to be at Aaron Ashley Aaron Ashley Barber Scala's wine store, but she panicked and over Omicron or whatever, or how crazy I am, and didn't want me to stay with her, nor did she want to set up the art show. So I'm setting it up with Tracy and Michael at 100 2nd Street Northwest, Charlottesville, Virginia, 108 2nd Street Northwest, Suite RELEAF, Sweet Relief Cannabis Store. It's legal. I've already bought some cannabis there, and these wonderful African American women are gonna allow me to put my canvases on the wall. They're over here. See, so you see the canvases. There's 6 canvases, and I just gave one to Sue, and then there's a small one that's the 7th on the right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the top. There's Medusa, the Rose, the Thistle. Then there's Pallas Athena hiding, one human family, and it says Harmony at the top. And then I have Aphrodite below, Love Always. That's number 6 canvas. And then on the right, there's a small square that says, the Ire retakes the throne after 777 years of subjugation over the Union Jack, which is on one of the trays, and then the American flag. And then I have a couple of flags coming up on trays. And then, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 canvases, 6 with the Pallas Athena. And then on top, we have, I said Pallas Athena, and then below Aphrodite or you, and then I'm going to do a Vesta. I think I'll do a Vesta next. And on the left is, she could be Vesta if I put more orange on her, or it's Medusa. And so that's the art show. So we'll sell those for $222.22 or $333.33 or $444.44 on Super Bowl, Super Toilet Bowl Sunday. 13th February, the year of the Tiger. We got the Bengals versus the Rams. And Sean David Morton, my associate host of Strange Universe, who was put in federal prison, had released the day before my birthday. He was arrested. The day before my birthday, 17 August, he was released. And his obligations, if I send him a note saying he's invited to my party at my house, and how does he know that I'm not already still a millionaire? And then I've been pretending to be broke and homeless to test everybody, see who's who in this. How do these assholes not know that? How do they not know that I've already invested the money and locked it away in a trust? That I did it a while ago and pretended to be broke like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, to just see what would happen. And oh my God, this is so funny because so many people thought I was truly broken. I was homeless in South Beach for 2 years, and I had fun, and I didn't access something that I could have accessed. And I just wanted to see who would help me. So Jeffrey, you fucked up. You fucking stole my money. Now you won't even answer the phone, you gutless coward. You have my teachers. Look, hands down, I'm the best student of my teacher. But my teacher had a huge diamond, among us to other things. Jeffrey's got this huge diamond. What does the Hope Diamond do to women? It makes them crazy because it makes them even more selfish than they already are. It amplifies what you are. And Jeffrey, if you're prone to thievery and thinking you know better about how to handle money than other people, and then you meet somebody like the likes of me, and you have maybe 100,000, 200,000 of Frederick's gemstones, including a large diamond, you've made yourself into a monster. You made 2 women get an abortion against their will. One was your fiance who does the books for your business, or did. That's how smart is that? And then you have another one, a hooker that you broke the rubber with, and what did you do? What did you do? You made her get an abortion against her will. Both these women were, first one, the fiance was very depressed and became a born-again Christian. Her name, I'm not going to mention. This asshole doesn't call me, doesn't speak to me, he doesn't understand our teacher was for real, but nature loves, according to Heraclitus of Ephesus, 505 BC, nature loves to hide. And our teacher showed us that nature loves to hide by hiding his reality, the reality that he was being guided by a very powerful cool energy. He was an abusive and abused Brooklyn Jewish boy. He probably didn't finish high school with dyslexia, who had a genius level IQ somehow through having a walk-in. As described by Ruth Montgomery, he was prearranged in January 23rd or 29th, 1979. I can't remember which day. I think it was the 29th of January, 1979. He had a high fever. He's had a high fever, and he's not calling like a cocaine psychosis. He's calling it, which I think it is related to cocaine psychosis, because he lost all of his teeth. And cocaine destroys the enamel in your teeth, as I fucking know. I know that because my teeth are destroyed from like about 4 years of really solid cocaine use. I was a real aficionado. No, I wasn't. I was an idiot who's spending 900. Let's put it this way. There was at least $2,000 to $3,000 a month being spent on cocaine. And I was going through 2 8-balls a week, $200 each, but I'd give a $100 tip to my dealer. That makes it $600 a week. Times 4, it's $2,400 a month. And some months I couldn't get it that easily because my friend who brought it to me, well, they made sure that I didn't get the shit garbage. But he was not always available to give it to me. So there were, I'm sure, months where I'd only spend $1,000 on it, but I was drinking like $200, $300 of liquor a week. And I bought like Lagavulin scotch. I'd drink a bottle of that in a week, and then I have a bottle of rye whiskey in a week, and a bottle of $50 gin in a week, and you add it all up, and you're like, what the fuck, man? What a fucking asshole I was with money. All right. So, what are the 12 virtues? Courage, frugality. This is Aristotle's list, following the 12 signs. Aries is the first sign. We'll do it geocentrically. Aries, Taurus, etc. So, courage, corresponding to Aries. The second is frugality or temperance, Taurus, liberality, Gemini. Then magnificence, if you have great wealth. Then you want to be like Leonardo or Lorenzo the Magnificent, and be magnificent with your largesse for the poor and for the forgotten, and lifting up a place and making Florence a Renaissance city on a hill was Leonardo da Vinci's idea and intention, as he was intending to make with Machiavelli that could become a reality, and use the river, the Arno River, and extend Florence's access into the Mediterranean greatly, and then make it a seafaring naval power to rival the monopoly of shipbuilding that Florence did not enjoy, that Venice enjoyed, because Venice had the monopoly on the most advanced shipbuilding techniques, and that was a failure. Leonardo da Vinci was only supported fully and wholeheartedly and devotedly by King Francois I of France in the Amboise, Amboise, where I went with Turner Hicks before he was even diagnosed with cancer. I move up with him, and now I've maxed out credit cards. I have $35,000 in credit card debt. Turner Dixon Hicks, whose mother was at the head table, and his father, JFK, and Jackie Kennedy the morning of the assassination for breakfast. And in the YouTube video of JFK's speech, he says, there's also a new weapon, something great that's being produced out of Fort Worth, the TRW experimental X aircraft, or experimental. So dark journalists would love this. Another X, his steganography is another X is a denotation of something secret and important that cannot be publicly explained. So this experimental plane was mentioned by JFK at the breakfast, and he says, "I'm glad there's a table separating me from Mr. Hicks." That was Turner's father, Marion Hicks, who was wonderful and did his taxes so well. He did taxes for other people for fun, and did it for Stony Brook County Association. That place sued me when Turner was gone, and I've inherited the money, and now I'm getting probate finished. And I have my 1 million plus, 1.7 total in assets. That includes the condo, a million in Exxon stock. And I get sued by the condo association. And they had it in for me, and they want me to leave, and I had to pay them. I lost my case. I had to pay like $5,000 for my lawyer. I had to pay their lawyer $5,000. I had to pay like fines or something, and it was like $30,000 to settle it. I always knew I would be okay, but boy, oh boy, what were they suing me for? Getting in the hot tub while I had my shorts, I had clothes on. I walked over and it was getting in the hot tub. There were younger children, like young girls that were probably 13, four of them, that were playing around in the steam room, which is co-ed, in the pool area inside the condo. I don't remember if it's a big pool. This is some kind of water down there, pool in the basement. It's part of the clubhouse, and that's part of the fee you're paying. I had unlimited firewood, but it costs like $6,200 a year for the fees for the Stony Brook Association. And I was friendly with all of the men working to plow the snow. They plowed the snow in front of my condo and all the other 100 and so condos. This is off Route 100 near Trapp Family Lodge, and I'm at Luce Hill Road, 251, number, I forget my number now. It was number 17 or 15. My point is, I wanted to call the condo the House of Light. The condo association owned a farm that abuts the property, and we looked out at a beautiful farm and a barn and cows, and there was I got off to a bad start when Turner died because Heather Lucas was taking my only set of keys to the Volvo X60 and kept trying to throw them in the fireplace so they'd melt, so I'd be trapped in the condo and I'd have to take a cab all the way to the Volvo dealership and pay $350 to get another set of keys made. And at the time she did that, she knew damn well I overspent with the life insurance money, and I'm going to be broke for like a year and 2 months, down to like very little money. And I have Jake and Evelyn making hamburgers with their Jake's Social Security money, and hot dogs, cooking them in the fireplace, which is going to cause a chimney fire. But I don't even care. I'm so depressed because I lost my chance to be with a beautiful woman. She knows who she is, Carla Sutherland, aka Shatana, with her son Orion. She's in Montezuma. After the retreat, I link up with her, and I'm spending all my time with her, and we go to Valentine's Day dinner at the Lang Lang Hotel. This is one of the happiest days of my life. It might have been the happiest. I think the happiest day of my life would have been meeting my teacher, Frederick. Hands down. And the saddest day was leaving him. Knowing that he's HIV positive, and knowing that I can't stay and continue to bring hustlers back, that I'm not watching him have sex. I don't know whether he's being penetrated without a condom, but that's what I believe is happening. He's being penetrated without a condom while he's HIV positive. And I have to go and pick these guys up and sneak them out of the building, go to Harlem and pick them up, go to the far west of 42nd Street to the bus station, and then to other places to meet these hustlers. The pimps would have me instructed, calling Frederick, "Oh, I've got another one for you." And these are Puerto Rican blacks and black men and white. There's a few white, but mostly Puerto Rican, like Ralph Lozada, who was always going to Rikers Island, and Frederick would want to spend all this energy trying to keep him out of jail. My God, what a fucking waste of time. So I'm like trying to help him. I did the notes for Lynn Wyatt's astrological reading. She's friends with Nancy Reagan. She loved it. They bought, Douglas and her mother and his mother bought about total, between the two of them, at least 100,000. I think it was 130,000, because I think Lynn Wyatt bought about 80,000, maybe 100,000 in gemstones that were properly mounted by D.F. Walter, down this amazing goldsmith who's in Vermont. Look him up, David F. Walters. David F. Walter, I believe. It may be Walters, D.F. Walters, but I think it was apostrophe S. It was D.F. Walter. He moved from the East 47th Street It's east of the 47th Street cutoff for the addresses is where the Diamond District is, and it's mostly west. I forget. My point is, I used to run the errands to get the gold rings and pendants. And, Frederick would instruct D.F. Walter or whoever's mounting them on a ring how to do it, and what he wanted, and I would run the errand. So I'm getting them appraised with Eric Schwimmer, who's not really a real appraiser. And I didn't like doing that, but Frederick wanted an appraisal. And then there wasn't really a place to go and get a handwritten appraisal, except for Eric Schwimmer that I knew of, unless you want to pay to go inside a jewelry store. And they did all really offer that service for other people's jewelry. So we kept doing that. And Eric Schwimmer would say, well, how much do you want it appraised for? This is after he's guessed. And I'm looking at him like, that's not really enough. We paid, let's say we paid $3,000 for a stone. It's a cornflower blue sapphire 2 carats. So let's say it's a small one, relatively speaking. $3,000, and then we have it mounted. It costs $1,500. It's beautiful. So it's $4,500 wholesale and all the errands and all my work. So we'll add like $4,000 or $3,000 profit. Let's say there's, for all the errands and all the trouble, we add $2,750 profit to a ring that let's say we paid $3,000 for a 2.0 carat sapphire and had it mounted for $1,750 in gold. So now that's a beautiful ring, and it's $4,750 plus the fee of the mailing and everything else, and the insurance and the appraiser, and you add it all up, and you're getting $3,000 for the ring, $1,750 for the ring to be mounted, and for the man to be paid. Yet we had to pay the mounter and all that. Now we've got to send the ring to somebody who's paid in advance for it, and we had to come up with a price, and we had to estimate the price before we knew exactly what it would cost. So let's say we were charging them $7,200, and it cost us $5,000 with shipping. It's $5,100 maybe with the appraisal and the shipping. And when we're going to make $2,000 profit, none of that was declared by Frederick on his IRS tax return. He didn't even file tax returns, and that's why he was about to be arrested. And he died February 4th, 1990, while the Vanity Fair article was about to come out. And maybe the article was already out, but he had himself euthanized with something that we have here. And we have it only not for the purposes of euthanizing you, but Russ, that lives here, lived in Key West where I live. He was interested in drugs and things, and they didn't have morphine. What I'm saying they don't have morphine there, but Frederick got somebody to get him morphine to kill him, just as Turner Hicks, that left me all that money, had his family prearrange that with the hospice nurse. It's not entirely legal. I'm not snitching about anything that rich people do. You know, they all do this. They get morphine sulfate, and they have the hospice nurse not just administer for the pain. They have the hospice nurse give you the whole bottle so you can die peacefully in your sleep. That's how Turner died. So conveniently, after I got his brother up there with the family, with his wife and the children, and they're not going to be in the will for a lot of things, because the mother of Turner Hicks and his brother, who's come up for Dallas, she's probably worth $10 to $15 million, maybe more, and she lives on the interest income from, let's say at the time, she's passed away and all this, but let's say she was worth $10 million. A conservative 4% gives you $400,000 a year, and if it's split between Turner and Larry, I shouldn't have said his name, sorry, Larry, it's $200,000 each, except that then Martha wouldn't have any income, but she didn't need any money for the most part. She's eating crackers and doesn't care. So her house, you know, the expenses, let's say she took $50,000 and Turner and his brother split 400,000 minus 50, and that's 350,000 for 175,000, and you divide it out and you get, after taxes, 100, you know, let's say it's 150,000. He's got 3,000 a week to spend. $3,000 a week, and then he upped it to $4,000 a week, and he left his portion of the money that he controlled. So that's why I didn't feel guilty about inheriting 1.7 million. There's at least a minimum of 10 million in investments, plus the condo and his grandmother's trust his mother controlled. And the condo was worth appraised value 1.2, 1.3 million. His cousin inherited it. And finally I found his email, the cousin's email. His nephew, his nephew inherited the condo in Beacon Hill. I inherited the condo in Stowe, and then we had an apartment in New York City. We didn't pay the rent because once he died or was dying, the rent wasn't paid. And then they wouldn't let me have my things at the building until that was taken care of. And the lawyer, Steve Smoot, never did pay the rent. He went on a year while the place was just covered, the door, everything was locked up. And so they suffered there, and they still do at the building, people that are there, because not all the amenities are good enough. But I would love to live in that building rather than the building I was in that was sealed. But both buildings would have been sealed if we had not paid the rent, and the man's name on the lease was the man who had died. So Turner died and I wasn't on the lease, so I couldn't go in and get my books and my favorite possessions and my favorite clothes and my notes for 18 months until the lawyer, Steve Smoot, finished probation. And I'm bringing all this up because I didn't get my probate finished to get the stock. I spent all my life insurance money foolishly, or most of it, had a little bit left, and had to depend on the kindness of Jake and Evelyn staying with me to make me food and get me going. So when I finally had money, I spent about $50,000 more plus for them, on them, and $35,000 was a minimum paid to the contractor, Tommy, who took his own, he's competent, but it was also kind of a messy, incompetent way. He took their garage and turned it into a cottage with a heated interior and walls that were finished, with a kitchen, stove, oven, everything, refrigerator, and an upstairs attic kind of storage space in the garage, and then a shower and bathroom and all that, so that they could stay on their 5-acre property. And I said to her, okay, now that we've done that, can I have the 2 acres next to you to build a house that we can sell? And let's say I'll spend $200,000, $300,000 building a house. We'll sell it with the property, 2 acres, for $1 million, and split the profit, and let me have half of the profit so I can have some little extra money and something for what I've done. She said no. I said, well, how are you going to rebuild your house? You've got a cottage out of the garage, but how are you going to rebuild your house? You don't have any money. And if we build and sell a house that's on 2 acres of your 5, you still have 3 acres, and you can choose who you sell it to. You can make sure the neighbor's nice, and we could make a $300,000 or more profit pretty fast over a year, and I could have 150,000, or maybe we could make $500,000 profit. We could build a house that we could sell for $1 million by me spending 300,000, and then I could then have 700,000 to split with her. That's after taxes and fees. It might be 250,000 to 300,000 each, and then I could have money, and she could have enough money to rebuild a house on her property on the 3 acres were left. And this is how crazy this world is. She said no. And then she wouldn't give me my Lexus SUV back, and I made it so she could stay on her property with a cottage. They didn't have anywhere to go in the winter except car camping in the South, and they stayed with me for like 15 months. And my thank you was when my Range Rover was being used by the Tavares brothers' friend associate who introduced me to Butch Tavares, and I paid for that video, Heaven 24/7. Butch was instantly drawn to me in the sense he was drawn to tell me. He said, "I'm telling you, from the Most High God, you have to stop drinking, Paul Hinton," and I promised I would. We didn't discuss cocaine, but it was implied. It was clear. And we did the recording of the Heaven 24/7. I gave him $25,444.44 in a check, and that was deposited, and it was used for their expenses for the video. His expenses. It was his, not his brother's. 24/7. And then he did another one that was The Wind and the Rain, and I was proud of it. And I've been ridiculed, and I did all that, but he was one of the few people who told me, forget everything you're doing and get sober, or you're going to be killed. And I was nearly killed a number of times while I was on the street in South Beach, North Beach, Miami, and going back and forth. And I was abused by the cops, and I was threatened that they would put me in the hospital. This is the cops. And I got their names, turned them in Internal Affairs, Miami Beach Police, down on Washington Street, near like 3rd Street in Washington. There's a place. If it's not on Washington Avenue or Street, it's on the next avenue over, going north-south. But I turned the cops in that threatened to kill me, beat me up and put me in the hospital if I didn't leave North Beach. I said to them, I need to get the man arrested who stole my car and get my insurance money. And I'll be fine and I'll be out of your hair. Would you stop threatening me and let me sleep somewhere out in the, street until I get it together? Because it was terrible. There was no really good homeless shelter that was peaceful enough. And it was a zoo over at the place where you get helped, supposedly. And I didn't want any help from that place. And so it extended into Jeffrey helping me, saying he's helping me, but he's really got $27,000 he's spent of my own money paying his creditors. I got paid back in 2021 in February. And I'm using that in part to finance what I'm doing. Plus, I have the coins that were given to me in the amount. It turns out that the coins were worth $25,000 at least. 9 coins, well, no, it was more than that. But I'm saying there was 12 coins, and there were 9 left when the car was carjacked, and then when the bus drove away with my bags. In other words, I had 9 coins. I had 1907 1-ounce coins, St. Gaudens gold coins from the United States of America, and 1887 gold coins that were given to me by a man with the initials S.A., who gave me the coins, the 12 coins, and it could be worth close to $1,500, but maybe more, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800. And if they're worth, let's just say $2,000 times 12, that's $24,000. They're not quite $2,000 each. But he gave me the coins, and the aftermath of learning that my friend JR, that's not my friend, stole $27,000 of my money. So I ended up getting paid back by JR in the hospital instead of having him wire the money to my accounts, because I threatened to call his mother, ruin his life, have him arrested on TV and in the newspapers, and then hauled off to prison for his felonies, embezzlement, and forgery. And the money that was given, the gold coins, they were bought, and the coins were given to me, and they were in the lining with other money in the lining of the suitcases, and therefore Greyhound owes me $44,000 in my possession, plus damages for denial of disability, denial to a disabled veteran who has a disability wartime service pension, a disability pension wartime service. They denied me my medical care, my colostomy bag, my tramadol, my painkillers for 3.5 weeks. I had no tramadol, no powerful painkillers. So I've either got a choice of street drugs, which I didn't do, but I did get some codeine with Tylenol. That was legal. And then cannabis. And then I ran out of that. And the reason I ran out is I wasn't allowed to have it shipped into Florida where it's legal from some friend of mine that makes a big dose of it. And it was no problem, but we lived so close to high school that Russ used that as an excuse, just another means to further tie me down. And then finally I get out of Florida. I'm away from all of that. And I find out I have a life-threatening blood clot. The VA didn't diagnose it. And I'm down to pennies because my money was in the bags on the check in the undercarriage of the bus when the driver drove away, telling me that I would get my bags back in Charlottesville. The bus station's padlocked. They've laid off or people have quit for Greyhound. There's nobody honest working for them. I believe all that stuff was stolen, and they had 10 oil canvases like these, but the ones that I'd spent a lot of time with, those canvases were for my art show at Erin Scala's art. I worked there at Fleury Restaurant and helped introduce her to her husband, the man she would marry, Joe Scala, who also worked at Fleury Restaurant, who was introduced to working there by Mary Ellen, who was my girlfriend, who loved cats better than me and still here with his cats. He probably has 4 dozen. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground, but we've got all these cats in the background that need to be taken care of. If I have enough money, I'll buy a barn, a property with a barn, or build a barn on my property, or a huge facility that Mary Ellen can design to put the cats on my property and have her come over and live there, or come over and be invited to come and take care of the cats. But I'm not going to live with her and the cats and with all the allergies I've had. So this is a huge breakthrough, the show, and summing up everything. So now I'm safe and sound on Super Toilet Bowl Sunday. We're at 55 minutes, and I think that's enough. But let's close with a prayer from the Bible. Let's go back to my favorite psalm, and we'll just sit quietly and read it. Now I want you to think quietly. What is your favorite psalm? Ancient Echoes, Stephen Halpern. And I'm playing Stephen Halpern.
Showing results for 8.
Okay, that's being played. Now let's get the Bible. Oh boy. Oh, I'm a little tired here. We're gonna finish. We're gonna make it at least to an hour here. And this is a good show. It's clarified things for me in my mind. And that's important. It's very important. So we're going to read. Oh my God, this wound hurts. I am. Okay. Bible, Psalm, King James Version, 119. Psalm 119. Psalm 119. Jesus. Whoa. I'm so tired right now. I think you can see it in my eyes and my face, but I'm okay. I'm happy to be alive. I'm so happy to be alive. And I'm telling anybody, if you wish you were dead, you may find yourself in my boat where you're dying of something a couple times over. And then you're wishing you were dead. Well, you are going to really regret having done that to yourself. So don't do that to yourself, is what I'm saying. Don't ever wish you were dead, and be more appreciative. Be extremely appreciative for your life. Because if you don't, if you're not, it could be taken away in a heartbeat. You're only a heartbeat away from being returned to God Almighty. Why would you want to be ungrateful and then die suddenly and then realize you have all these regrets? Ugh. All right, Psalm 119. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the world of the Lord. Blessed are the undefiled in the way, who walk in the law of the Lord. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with the whole heart. They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. Thou hast commanded us to keep thy precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep thy statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed. When I have respect unto all thy commandments. I will praise thee with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned thy righteous judgments. I will keep thy statutes. Oh, forsake me not utterly. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. With my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments. Thy word I have hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee. Blessed art thou, O Lord, teach me thy statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of thy mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of thy testimonies as much in all riches. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. That's verse 15. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. I will delight myself in thy statutes. I will not forget thy word. Deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word. Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of the law. I am a stranger in the earth. Hide not the commandments from me. My soul breaketh for the longing that it hath unto thy judgments at all times. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from thy commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept thy testimonies. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Verse 23, princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Verse 24, thy testimonies also are my delight and my counselors. My soul cleaveth unto the dust. Quicken thou me according to thy word. I have declared my ways, and thou heardest me. Teach me thy statutes. Make me to understand the way of thy precepts, so shall I talk of thy wondrous works. My soul melteth for heaviness. Strengthen thou me according to thy word. Remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. I have chosen the way of the truth. The way of truth, thy judgments have I laid before me. I have stuck unto my testimonies, O Lord. Put me not to shame. Verse 32, I will run the way of thy commandments when thou shalt enlarge my heart. Verse 33, Psalm 119, and thus concludes the episode. Teach me, O Lord, the way of thy statutes, and I shall keep it unto the end. Thank you for watching, and may you find it within yourself to manifest unconditional love for yourself forevermore and for everyone forevermore, and especially and including the most evil, because they've shown you how far back you've come towards God for the mind of clear light, the great perfection. May you manifest, may you be blessed, self-blessing, and developing yourself, seeking the true pursuit of happiness and manifesting it by doing good for its own sake, serving others and putting them first, and manifesting that total gratitude with that service. Manifest by deeds, not words, not simply words. And manifesting forgiveness for yourself and forgiveness of others. Even the man who carjacked my car, I have to forgive him. That does not mean he does not get rebuked and punished. He could still be punished and badly beaten up in the process. If I don't go to the police and bring somebody to tell him he needs to pay me back and return my objects, and if he refuses, if something happened to him, he might deserve it. But I will not hurt him myself, and I won't kill him. No way, that's not just. That would be malicious indignation. The 12 virtues, courage, temperance or frugality, corresponding to Taurus. 3rd, liberality. The 4th, magnificence, like Cancer. Magnanimity. The 5th, like Leo, when you have power and you have lesser power. Proper ambition, like Virgo. Be humble. Libra, make the peace. That's the 7th. That is the question of, will you be a good friend or not? Are you capable of good friendship? That is the 7th. It goes beyond Virgo to Libra, which is patience. You need patience. And then you move to the 8th, Scorpio, truthfulness. The 9th, wittiness, Sagittarius. The 11th virtue corresponding to Capricorn is the 10th virtue corresponding to Capricorn is friendship. The 11th is modesty. The 12th is righteous, not malevolent indignation, righteous indignation. You bring them to justice, but you forgive them, and you wish them well, and you tell them so, and you send them unconditional love, but you're sending them cruel love. You make sure they're punished. Thus ends the episode when I finish the 12 twin sets of opposite characteristics. We'll do the Lord's Prayer right now. Our Father who art in heaven, our Mother indwelling, our Goddess, God and Goddess, one and the same, holy being, sacred becoming, one and the same. Our Father who art in heaven, our Mother indwelling, sacred becoming, holy being, one and the same. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Granting us this day our daily bread and brethren, we give thanks and rejoice in thee. We give thanks and rejoice in thee. Praise the Lord and thank you. Praise all ye servants of the Lord. In the Lord put I my trust. How say ye to my soul, flee as a bird into your holy mountain. In the Lord put I my trust. I will praise thee, O Lord, with my whole heart. Psalm 9. And in the Lord put I my trust. Psalm 11, taught by Tom Ringmers of The Gathering in Schuyler. The phone number is 434-831-235. You can get the last number from me by email. But I'm saying you can call them and look